So my suggestion is that before you reach out to your old army buddies, that you get the paperwork from the hospital first, because that's a very important starting point, just in case you reaching out to your buddies would in any way trigger anything, and you can
Okay.
travel there safely to and from, and so on.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, let's get the paperwork from the hospital, and then we can look at reaching out to the army buddies afterwards. Um, and then whatever of those copies, we'll just figure out how you can just photograph them, and I think
Mhm.
with Proton Mail, there's something called Proton Drive, and there's like a certain amount of gigabytes of storage. In fact, I just uploaded one of the audio recordings in Proton Drive because I'm looking at how is most effective to get to the police officer once I go through those
Right.
other audio recordings. And
Okay.
then on a positive, like the audio, how great the audio recordings will be stored on a Victoria Police Department's secure server.
Right.
So that's something that's important. I feel much better about that actually, as a starting point. So,
Okay.
and then I think now one of the what the police officer said. Well, let's talk about some of those in terms of like the investigation. Is the sort of, from their perspective, they look and they say, okay, how do they know you're telling the truth? And I said, well, when you hear the audio recordings, you'll hopefully you can discern.
Right.
Some folks are different. Like now the police officers, got lots of experience, and you know, I know the police officers' approach to hearing the audio files would be quite different than sometimes how they might look. So they're asking, well, where did I meet you? Those sort of questions. And I said, well, I offered to help. I tried to
Right.
provide the right context. So, in terms of, I know what sort of questions folks will ask. And so some of the folks, like something that, in terms of documentation that helps in terms of with the police, is that, you know, that yeah, you were at the army. Do you have like a document that says what years you're in service that you can send me that we can start
Oh yeah.
compiling
Oh yeah.
those? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a DD-214 that gives you my years of service. Yeah, I can corroborate that like in the next few minutes as soon as I get off the phone.
Oh, sure. That's perfect because then I can send. When I send a link to the audio files, I can send an email um, with the document, anything that we have that would help to provide context right now, even before she's listening to the
Okay.
audio files.
Yeah, yeah. I can upload my DD-214, my most current one, and it'll have both periods of service. It'll have all my schools, all my awards. It'll have everything. So, it's a I don't know how